Hey, dude, what are we filming today?
Oh, dude, we're filming this Rhodesian A5 shotgun.
Rhodesian? I thought we say Zimbabwe now.
Do we? What are you doing down there? Get back to work. Gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I am your host, this hawking Rhodesian chest rig and wedding. Today we are going over the Rhodesian Auto A5, a Browning designed. This thing is a legendary shotgun. It is a treat to go over, and I'm very excited. So let's dive on in. Brute. Now, the Browning Auto A5 is a legendary shotgun, of course, designed by John Moses Browning, a revered and well-respected weapons designer. He is often referred to as probably one of the best gun designers in the world, if not the best, if we're being honest with ourselves. So he partnered with FN to get this designed and made. It came about in the early 20th century, and I believe it was designed in 1898 and eventually was rolled out in 1905. So what's crazy to me, okay? What's crazy to me is a design that was made before the 1900s still is very relevant today. That is freaking nuts, okay? You still have like uncontacted European tribes. Huh? I'm just kidding, I don't know about that. Yeah, it's a very well thought out design. It's very impressive. This particular model saw a lot of service in South Africa / Rhodesia, hence the controversial camo. Now, this gun is very cool in my opinion. It's a cool little piece of history and there's a lot to unpack with this gun. So this shotgun all around is an icon, is what I would call it. There are guns that we get on the channel that are either brand new, just roll off the lot, or they have a huge history. In this case, this gun is like, it's like half the age of America. There's a lot that this shotgun has seen and done and shown up in. That was a guy that wasn't liking and subscribing. He was sitting on the toilet eating his coffee, chewing his beer, whatever you were doing. Make sure you like and subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Your comments are a sacrifice to the algorithm god. Yeah. This thing has showed up in a good amount of video games in particular, I would say, where it is used the heaviest in pop culture. It showed up in some movies. Off the top of my head, I think of The Highwayman with Kevin Costner, seen picking up an A5. It's not this particular model, but it is still a A5 nonetheless. And it is cool to see how much it's been used. Of course, used in World War I, World War II, Vietnam, and then it was picked up and used in Rhodesia and South Africa, like I said. So it has seen quite a history of service, and I believe Browning still makes them to this day. It's not this particular model, but they do make the A5. It would be cool, Browning, if you brought this particular model back. I wish you would pull a PSA and start bringing back some of your hits from back in the day. That would be pretty freaking cool, pretty cash money, and you would make a killing if they brought back an old shotgun and then gave it a slight facelift of like the parts of like, you'll see what I mean here in a second. Essentially, my big complaint is the feeding lips down here. It's fun to see the pattern. Do you like camo? I like camo. Do you know who else likes camo? Americana Pipe Dream Apparel. Fantastic young Zoomers getting after it in the Milsurp arena. Come on. They're fantastic young guys, crushing it, getting you guys awesome Milsurp from abroad that you can rock and flex on the ladies with. They also have manuals, night vision, other cool stuff. Go click the link down below, check them out. Fulfill your Milsurp dreams with some fantastic clothing. And we also have to thank admin from the future here, working on the PSA Saber 10, which you should see coming up rather shortly. Beautiful little piece. But I wanted to also tell you about SDI, the Sonoran Desert Institute. Get accredited gunsmith training, take your firearms knowledge to the next level. Guys, there's a link in the description down below if you want to go check it out. I was bad at school, I honestly was. I failed algebra too. Maybe if I was learning about firearms, I would have been a little bit more invested. If that's something like you, then it could be a good option if you want to get your foot in the door. Having creds is always good look to employers. Sometimes you don't need them, but sometimes you do, because there may be someone out there that has it and you lost out to that guy. So go check them out. Big thank you to them. All right, back to the shotgun. Sometimes I wish I was a blue job up in the sky. Wouldn't have to watch if I could fly. And I'll be a brown job until I die. But 10 years to go in the RLI. So this Rhodesian A5 shotgun is very cool, but it's not mine. It belongs to a friend of the channel, my friend Joel, otherwise known as Otter Weapons Works. Joel, get over here. Joel, thanks for coming back to the channel yet again, man.
Yeah,
We've had you on for a bit. You got some cool guns. We're getting nice and sweaty out here. Hope you enjoy Arizona. You loaned me this Rhodesian A5 to go over. It is very cool. I like it a lot. Of course, the Blood Diamond lore. And now we have a piece of that history on the channel. What can you tell me about this particular shotgun, my man?
So I was perusing Facebook one day, and I don't remember, it popped up in a group. A friend of the seller posted a picture and said, using the Facebook lingo, wanting to move it. I messaged him, happened to be in Virginia at the time, and set up the deal. The guy basically was like 3 hours away, drove down to Southern Virginia. Didn't know what I was gonna pay, because just did a quick look on Gunbroker, and at that time it was like 3 or 4 grand for the last one that just sold. I start talking to the guy, he's like, I want $1,100 for it. I was like, here, and took it and ran.
I'll give you $1,200 for it.
Done. Profit.
Sick.
Took it home. It had a few things going on with it. The magazine spring was broken, so I had to replace that. And then other than that, just needed a good cleaning. The guy basically said he bought it from his friend who needed money 10 or 15 years prior, and it sat in the back of his safe, and he was tired of hanging on to it. So the cool thing about this one is, when I used to work for the government, I ran into some FN boys from Hurstel, gave them the serial number, and they were able to tell me when it was produced. So this one was made in 1970, shipped from Hurstel to the the Rhodesian police force, who then subsequently turned it over to the Rhodesian Army with the markings, the RA613 on the bolt, the barrel, and the receiver. It's been mine ever since, and I love it. So this one came in unmolested. Through Century Arms. At that time, they didn't have to change anything. They just added their stamp and sold them. At the time, I think there's only 300 or 400 in the country, and then Sarco got a small run, but Sarco, when they imported them, they had to block the mag tube. So this mag tube holds 8. The ones that Sarco does only holds 4. They actually welded a piece of metal in there. So this one is as it was used overseas. So it's got some unique features, like on this A5, it's got a crossbolt here in the, which most A5s don't have for recoil. The traditional magazine shutoff, so you can single load rounds. This is often referred to as the canoe. There are fiberglass versions of this. I haven't been able to get my hands on one because these do crack, they are wood. Got the rack number on it, so it was number 4. And then I just happened to have a Rhodesian Galil sling, and so threw that on there.
Well, I appreciate you bringing it on the channel and showing
Absolutely.
it off, my man.
I'm glad. Thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it.
All right, get out of here. I can do my thing.
All right.
Now, this gun was used to fight commies. Now, I don't have any commies out here to fight. The next best thing is I have some trash to shoot. All right, go ahead, Joel. Pull. Got him. So how does the gun shoot? Well, gun is a little bit dated and the recoil is heavier than what you're used to, say if you have the familiarity of a Benelli. It feels a little bit more intense than a Benelli because it is not a Benelli. It's not a Benelli. So Benelli is, of course, being towards the top end of the shooting experience for 12 gauges. This, not bad. It's very easy to get quick follow-up shots. We were having some hiccups with it. Could be ammo related. I know some shotguns are very finicky when it comes to certain ammo, but once we got her going, she was running and gunning. Now, my biggest complaint, like I said earlier, gonna be that little trapdoor feeding lip thing down here. Not the worst. I have had much worse shotguns. I think of HS-10B. Some of those shotguns from back in the day have these really weird sharp feeding lips. So your thumb, like your thumbnail gets caught on them. Thankfully this doesn't have that. It's nice and like smoothed out. It's it can be kind of annoying to load. Like you kind of have like this weird hang up and you have to get a lot of force with as little leverage as possible. But if that's as bad as it is, then that's not the worst. So manual of arms for the shotgun, pretty simple. We'll do a live action manual of arms episode. Take your shell, lock it back to the rear, drop one in, hit the button, feeds the tube. Very familiar, kind of reminds me of a Benelli. Who came first, the chicken or definitely the gun made in like 1905. All right, another one's in the tube, load it up. Weapon is on safe, take her off safe, got it right here. Boom, we have, like Joel was mentioning, the magazine cut off. So you flip the switch, cuts off the magazine tube, put the back, we're back in business. Pretty simple, having some issues with ejection, but not terrible. Of course, gun, pretty freaking simple. Gun is simple, right? It's a shotgun. Shotguns are meant to be simple and violent. So they had this thing in the bush were called the Rhodesian jungle load. Now, essentially it was birdshot and a buckshot mix. The idea was the birdshot would lay down any of the grass or shrubs in the way, and then the buckshot would finish off your bad guy. How effective is that? I don't know. I actually had a hard time finding easily, readily available photos of the Rhodesian A5 in service. If I was personally going into a fight against guys that have AKs and it's in the jungle, I'd still probably want an FAL if I'm being honest, me personally. But if you're a madman, you like running a shotgun, I think, you know, hey, that's your vibe, because shotguns still have a place, you know. Buckshot loaded up close, man, it's pretty freaking terrifying. And it's cool to definitely get this on the channel. Now, you can see some very cool markings on the gun. We have the pencil marking of the RA613 on both the bolt and the barrel and the receiver. And then we have made in Belgium A5. So really cool markings on the gun. Now, it's really cool to see that this gun was still very viable. And of course they used other shotguns in that war due to the embargoes that they had, right? Apartheid, racism bad, YouTuber fixes the world in one sentence. So they had that problem, and they put a lot of embargoes on those countries, i.e. South Africa and then Rhodesia. Or I should say Rhodesia and then South Africa. So they had to use what they had at their disposal, and so it created this weird vibe of cool guns that they were using when they were essentially cut off from the Western society. So there's this weird intrinsic interest in a subject such as that. All right, now why go over a video on a shotgun that is extremely dated? The original shotgun's old, this shotgun is less old, so why? You know, am I trying to convince you guys to go out and buy one? Absolutely not. You know, here at the channel, I like to show off really cool guns for you guys to check out. This is a gun that I personally find very interesting. You know, it's cool to get out here running gun with some of the kit on. I don't have like the shotgun supportive kit that they probably would have used back in the day, but I had the next best thing, you know, a little Faraday & Sons chest rig and then a FAL, I think it's a pattern 70 webbing on, and you just stuff some shells in and it works. So you get a feel for being creative. You know, you get a feel for what they had to maybe have done back in the day. Just a small taste, not the horrific side of warfare and the soul-crushing experience that is.
Sometimes I get a little quiet.
That's nice. I just get to go home and eat some sushi after this. But it is still very freaking cool. I really wish, like I said, I wish Browning would come out and remake this, maybe more modernized to some capacity, maybe with a retro line. I think they would definitely sell some guns. I don't know how big of a hit it would be, but I know that I would at least buy one. I pinky promise, Browning, I would love to get my hands on one. So it's a good idea for you. There's a bunch of young Zoomers like me that also want to get cool guns that are very outdated and hard to get. Very simple video, gentlemen. Shotguns are fun, fast, violent, and they are ultimately pretty cool. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Your comments are a sacrifice to the algorithm god of which who enjoys slowly and painfully loading shotguns with aggressive feed lips. Now this shotgun is a pop. Sorry. There you're good. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. Getting after in the middle, so I'm not that flexible right now. Okay, today we are going over. Oh, that's all she had. I'm gonna run in, shoot, and then run. Pumpkin Massacre. How many was that, 5? He worked on that one. Wouldn't have to march if I could fly, and I'll be a brown job until I die. Hey! Back to the video, get away from me. Back to the video. Ooh, ooh.